In a disrupted workplace, being human is your competitive advantage. Our business and people are being disrupted by sudden change, innovative technology, and new ways of working. As leaders, it is our task to reconnect with and rediscover the traits and skills that make us uniquely human and can help us navigate our changed world. In fact, being human may be our greatest competitive advantage and our greatest professional responsibility. Today, I'll invite us to stop, question, and understand why it's critical and what it means for us to rediscover the humanity in ourselves, the people we support, and our organizations. Hi there, my name is Mark Leisegang, and I'm the head of New Markets and Strategic Alliances at Insights Learning and Development. Change everywhere. This has been a constant for many years now. The pace of change is probably the fastest it has ever been, but also the slowest it will ever be. None of us can predict what our organizations will look like in 3, 5, or even 10 years' time. This new level of disruption feels frightening because our unique workplace contribution, our intellectual ability, is at risk. Could our very own capabilities and contributions be encroached upon by intelligence that is artificial in the future? A number of things in the workplace have already started to change. Global world, rise of technology, clean desk policy, virtual teams, outcome-based management, and working from home. Included in this is the disruption for humanity. And there are so many disruptions that are caused by technology as it is now. We are all addicted to checking our phones. Did you check your phone before you got out of bed this morning? I'm sure many of us did. And it was probably the last thing we looked at before we went to bed last night. The addictive, attention-grabbing beep or buzz of our phones trigger dopamine surges in the brain, which promotes or stimulates addiction. So how we approach our working day is very, very different. Low-value connections, information overload, false urgency are all results of addiction to technology. Distraction. 34% of people check emails on vacation, 46% on sick days, 50% on weekend, and who knows how many percent take the devices to the bathroom. I think the guesses would be conservative. It's no accident that Steve Jobs never let his kids own iPads. Although he knew it delivered connection of a kind, he also knew that it could take more than it gave. 40% of jobs are at high risk of being replaced by robots and artificial intelligence over the next 15 years, according to a new report by PwC. No wonder the fear of technology and AI by our people. In our own spaces, doing our own things, not an abstraction, there's a strong connection between loneliness and health. Only around half of Americans, 53%, have meaningful in-person social interactions, such as having an extended conversation with a friend or spending quality time with family on a daily basis. Generation Z is the loneliest generation and claims to be in a worse health than the older generations. According to research, lonelier workers perform more poorly, quit more often, and feel less satisfied with their jobs, costing employers upwards of £2.5 billion in the United Kingdom alone. In the US and Asia, it could be 5 times that number. Less than a quarter of lonely people can say that they are in excellent health. Stress, lack of productivity, absenteeism. Even worse than absenteeism is presenteeism, disengagement, and lack of discretionary effort. Average absence from work is 4 days per annum, but employees can be non-productive for up to 60 days a year. Reconnecting with, redefining our humanity, and bringing our whole selves to the workplace is key to drive these numbers down. In all of this disruption happening in the world and finding its way into the workplace, it is inevitable that it will affect the people. Curated life, lack of authenticity. Are you doing the things because you want to, or because you want to be on Instagram, or Facebook, or LinkedIn? Professionals are now operating a VUCA world, a term originally coined by the US War College to describe a time following the collapse of the USSR and the end of the Cold War. It says a lot about our workplace times that this is now being used to describe the corporate world as well. According to a Harvard Business Review, this number one issue faced by global CEOs is volatility and pace of change faced by our businesses today. Because organizations are operating in a VUCA world, businesses are now needing to equip their employees with types of things that you wouldn't have got in normal business degrees. Resilience, agility, with numerous emotional intelligence principles also being a big part of that. Society, as we know it, is irrevocably disrupted. What we must do is to implore the leaders of today and tomorrow to think of themselves as architects of communities, bringing people together in one organization, sharing one set of values, working towards one common purpose, and making the best use of the human skills on offer. The way we see it is there are 5 foundations of rediscovering your humanity. To rediscover humanity, we must all begin with ourselves. When you decide to rediscover yourself, who you are, and what you're here for, in the middle of this change and evolution, you are building the first foundation of rediscovering humanity. For us, everything begins with self-discovery and knowing who you are. What makes you uniquely you? Well, we will definitely change as we go through life. There will always be that part of us that makes us who we are. Rediscovering human begins here. Once you know who you are, it's time to begin building the second foundation. Finding your voice is all about choosing to live out in the world as the real you. Not the curated version of yourself that doesn't exist in real life, but the wholehearted, unabashed you. It's a roadmap for choosing how you want to live, once you know exactly who you are. Living out loud is about being ourselves when other people are around, whatever it's speaking our truth or acknowledging our blind spots. Living out loud is the hard work of leaning into a world with other people. At the heart of living out loud is 3 principles. The first is being authentic. Not just how do we show up as ourselves, but how do we interact with others in ways that are aligned with who we are as well as our values. Being vulnerable is about acknowledging our humanity. It means that we aren't perfect and that we may make mistakes or not have all the answers. Finally, being brave is about leaning into difficult conversations and situations rather than waiting for someone else to do so. When we live out loud, we've got to think about inclusive thinking, empathic listening, values-driven decisiveness, and authentic engagement. The third foundation is the perfect antidote to the schizophrenic approach to time. On one hand, we're victims of a 24-hour, always-on culture that says we're all here to smash our goals and never take a day off, and where go big or go home is a modern mantra. Or alternatively, we're told to practice mindfulness and go on a digital detox. We think there is a middle way, and that's just right for you pace, where your humanity can be found. It is really tempting for us to talk about slowing down and being more mindful in our lives. After all, everyone is talking about slowing down, and the research around mindfulness shows the benefits of noticing our breath when we make important decisions. We also know that mindfulness definitely has impact on our resilience and stress levels. Slowing down is a good thing. And yet at the same time, we have business leaders like Mark Zuckerberg and others talking about going fast and failing fast. These are all key aspects to agile development. We adopt these principles in our own organizations when we tell our leaders and teams that they need to accelerate their efforts towards a goal or outcome. It has been said that there are 3 speedometers that govern the pace of our lives: our head, our heart, and our body. And often we need to pay more attention to the one that is going the slowest rather than try and pull the other 2 towards the one going the fastest. What if the truth of speed wasn't about slowing down or speeding up? It was around finding the right speed for you. What if our unique humanity lies in the tension of the opposites of human vulnerability and our aspirations? Individuals who right-speed their lives have self-awareness, have intentional reflection, have purposeful action, and meaningful connection. One of the final items we want to talk about is the one that we believe is a definite need of rediscovering. It's the art of creating a meaningful relationship. The first question is, do we really know what a relationship is or how to create one? And what makes it meaningful? The fourth foundation of rediscovering your humanity moves you from focusing on yourself to thinking about the relationships in your life that really matter. You'll be reminded that transformational relationships cannot be achieved by taking shortcuts, that it's necessary to honor the most important relationships in life by giving them the attention they deserve. In today's digitally disrupted world, how do we ensure that the skills like empathy and listening stay at the heart of our human-to-human connections? People who create meaningful relationships have aligned interdependence, courageous cohesion, collective commitment, and collaborative conversations. The fifth and final foundation, where you begin to think about the purpose of your life and the legacy you want to leave, will broaden your outlook towards your community. In the age of rediscovering what really matters, there can be no better way to make an impact than by finding a way to change your community for the better. We believe that the true representation of humanity is how we make a positive difference in our world, whether it's our family, our teams, our towns, our organizations, or our world. There are ways that we can each share our gifts with others in a way that is meaningful and positive. Imagine a world where we could find our true reason for being, our ikigai. What do you love? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? What are you good at? The combination of love and good at being passion, the combination of love and needs being mission, the combination of needs and paid for being vocation, and the combination of good at and paid for being profession. The combination of all four gives us our ikigai, our reason for being, our purpose. It's our choice to make on what we want to do and how we want to move forward. Imagine a world where we are connected into a worldwide community of like-minded individuals. We are in dialogue virtually and face-to-face, sharing stories, ideas, challenges, questions. We can speak a common language that unites us and which welcomes and embraces diversity. We can align around a shared purpose where making a difference is core. We can support each other and our organizations to do well by doing good. We can change the dialogues that are happening in the world from fear to love. We can influence other key groups, communities, and institutions to think and act differently. We can bring connectedness, belonging, and stability in a disruptive world. The most exciting breakthroughs of the 21st century will not occur because of technology, but because of an expanded concept of what it means to be human. Thank you very much.